Here's the short story/lore of Ling.
First second, everything became distorted by the water. Clear yet blurred. The fish, shocked, scrambled to swim away, leaving silent ripples by Lingbo's ears. 12 seconds in, she let out her first exhale, clearing her mind and letting her thoughts drift away. It had been over a month since the last letter from her parents. The water was like a firm yet gentle shell around her. In that tiny space, she could allow the feelings that surged through her to dissipate. She looked up at the moon through the water. In her aunt's books, the poets always spoke of the moon as a message from distant loved ones. She stretched out a hand, but could grab only a fragment of its reflection. 66 seconds in, the bubbles began to escape from her nose. Lingbo floated to the surface, taking a huge gulp of air. She soon calmed down. Keeping her emotions in check, she started toward the water's edge. But the moment she raised her head, she froze. There, beneath a tree, her aunt stood looking out into the distance, holding a lantern. "Will you ever listen to a word I say? Or are you going to keep making trouble?" Her aunt's tone was as ruthless as ever. She lowered her dripping wet head, not daring to speak. "Your life is all you have. If you won't value it, then stop wasting my time." Lingbo had been a sickly child. To pay for her treatment, her parents had traveled to faraway Nextera to work in ether research, a job they had not wanted to take. The year she turned 14, she was sent to Vortex City to live with her aunt. She was a cold woman, more like a strict teacher than a blood relative. At a time she should have been wild and carefree, Lingbo's aunt demanded self-discipline and meditation. She learned to don a mask that no wave could unsettle. Perhaps that was why, as she beheld the pond, she felt a stirring she could not put into words. It was only calm, she concluded, because it had so much to hold back below the surface. 87 seconds. Her vision began to blur, and she heard a buzzing sound like two grumbling bees in each ear. Reflexively, she groped out in front of her, but found no friction against the ceramic tiles of the swimming pool. 102 seconds. She felt the frenzied squeezing of her lungs, every cell in her body crying out for oxygen. She pushed back against the instinctual desire for survival. Still not enough, she thought. Not nearly enough. 132 seconds. With her brain starved of oxygen, pain was the first sense to go. Then vision, hearing, touch. The split second before she lost consciousness, Lingbo fought her way to the water's surface. Before her bobbed the excited and concerned faces of her swimming classmates. A new record. 156 seconds. "Are you all right? Do you need to go to the nurse? Don't do that to yourself, okay?" To avoid provoking her aunt's ire, Lingbo had started sneaking away to the pool between lessons to continue her diving training. Her one unique act of teenage rebellion. At first, she thought she loved being beneath the water, because it had allowed her a brief escape from reality. But as her training continued and her diving abilities improved, her body had become stronger. Her childhood weakness was a thing of the past. "Maybe I really do have a talent for diving," she thought. "Maybe I should do something with it." The idea planted roots in Lingbo's mind. The moment she got her acceptance letter from the College of Oceanography, she rushed to pack her bags. Her aunt strenuously objected, but this time, she had the courage to look her straight in the eyes. "Time and tide wait for no man. Isn't that what you always say? I can't live under your thumb forever. I have to find my own path." 8,145 seconds. A deathly stillness. In the dark and endless depths of the ocean, Lingbo advanced carefully in her dragon form. Here in the pitch-black water, her senses, heightened by ether, had become a burden. Like a child learning to take its first steps, she felt her way forward into unknown dangers. She heard the movement of the fish and felt an instinctive urge to move away, only to knock up against a row of sharp, pyramid-shaped barbs. If she hadn't reacted fast enough, she would have found herself deep within the belly of the whale. Though she remained calm, the bone-piercing cold of the depths had seeped into her veins, and the instinctual panic heightened with her every breath. She had escaped danger this time, but the next? The pressure had begun to weaken her resolve. She gathered her thoughts and continued onward into the depths. "I'm okay," she thought. "I can do this." 9,276 seconds. In the command room, the team nervously observed the data on the screen. At just 20 years old, Ling Bo's powerful ether abilities and diving talent had made her a core part of the College of Oceanography's research efforts. The researchers watched with bated breath as she drew closer and closer to the prismarine. Every single attempt so far had ended in failure. But now that they had Ling Bo, maybe, just maybe, the distance ticked down. 328 meters. 245. 107. 62. It was a cool day, and the thermostat in the command room was working just fine. Nonetheless, beads of sweat had formed on the temples and necks of every member of the team. A little more. Just a little more. Beep beep. The ECG issued a harsh warning. Ling Bo's vital signs had dropped rapidly, and were on the verge of collapse. As she edged closer to the ether that swarmed around the target, the free-floating ether that coursed through her own body could no longer be kept under control. The director made an instant decision. Abort the mission. Send a recall signal immediately, and ready the diving apparatus for rescue efforts. The researchers were disheartened, but this result had been expected. After all, this was an essentially impossible mission. Or was it? Wait a minute. 9,491 seconds. The free-floating ether coursed through her veins like a tidal wave. Ling Bo struggled to stay conscious against the unbearable pain. The prismarine lay in the heart of the swirling vortex, like untouchable moonlight in her aunt's garden pond. She could feel her own heart screaming at her, and almost lost control of her own form. Beneath the bone-crushing pressure of the ocean, if she could not keep her ether abilities stable, then death was inevitable. So close. So close. A beam of white light flashed before her eyes. In an instant, she was back in the pond, trying with all her might to grab at the reflection of the moon. Her parents' letters had always been written in a gentle hand. "We'll sort everything out for you. All you have to do is grow up healthy and safe." But the prismarine was no mirage. It was real right there before her. She couldn't be that good, obedient girl any longer. The swirling energy threatened to rip Ling Bo apart. Though racked with agony, she didn't hesitate for a second. She stretched out a hand toward the prismarine. 10,721 seconds. Vital signs are stable. Specimen is intact. Prepare for retrieval. The rescue team examined Ling Bo thoroughly. Once they had confirmed no signs of injury, they breathed a sigh of relief. "Look, your life's more important than the mission. Okay? I mean, the results are beyond what we could have imagined, but that was way too dangerous. I expect a thorough self-assessment when you get back, got it?" Ling Bo nodded at her colleagues' token reprimands. Coming back alive from the brink of death should have left her exhausted. But all she felt was a peace like nothing she'd ever known. It was no longer the facade that repression had forced upon her, but true peace, born from knowing and accepting herself. Can you believe it? Look what I can do now. Thanks for watching, so don't miss the previous lore. Also, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. See ya!